can be what you want to be. Be what you want to be. You just be what you want to be with me.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Happy AF. My name is Sambowker and I'm so excited that you are here with me today. So today, guys, this is what I want to talk about. This is a huge topic, and I tell you, it seems like every single person that I've been hanging out with this week, this has been part of the theme of what we have been working on, effective communication. Now, I know that might not sound like a super tough topic, but I've got to tell you, every single person that I have worked with in the last couple of weeks that is having a problem is either struggling with communicating with their partner properly or communicating with themselves ineffectively, which is giving them a shitty outcome either way. So I'm going to start off, by sharing with you the effective communication with a partner. And for the purpose of this exercise, because I just think it's a bit more fun and I can relate back to a book that I read years ago, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, right? And I can't even remember who wrote the book. I will reference it for you in the show notes when I figure that out. It's not really relevant, but what the book title was trying to say is that men and women speak a different language. And I got to tell you, I really believe that to be the case. But I also think it's not just men and women that speak a different language. I think it's when you are in a relationship with a person, right? Whether it is your daughter, your father, your mother, your brother, your cousin, whatever, it is so easy to fuck this process up and end up telling yourself a different story about what's going on. So I'm going to give you an example, like you cannot, I talked in my last episode, I talked a lot about the lens with which we see things through, And so I'll give you an example, right? You can have a situation where you're in a partnership with a relationship, your significant other. And your significant other could go and do something for you, And it could be something as simple as picking up your clothes for you, right? Or like maybe organising to get a child to do something for you. And here's the thing, depending on your frame of reference, right, they could be doing it as an act of kindness, right? They could be doing it to help you out. In fact, most often they will be. But the other person can turn around and make a story up that they are being controlling, that they're being obnoxious, that they're being nasty, that they're being mean, that they're giving them a hard time. And the reason I guess I'm being so dramatic about this is this happens every single day, all of the time, with everybody around the world. And it's not that people are bad. It's just that you're looking at things through your lens, So if you've got this situation in your life where as a child, right, and this is the cracker as well that I want to share with you. We have our frames of reference, our beliefs, our stories. We have created them back when we were little, right? Between 0 and 7 years old. So based on your life experience, based on how you were brought up, your family, your life, your siblings, your mum, your dad, all of this, you create a whole bunch of stories, which then become your belief system. And that belief system will determine how you see things when you go out into the world. So here's the kicker. You can be in a relationship with someone and it's a bit of a funny situation right now because a while ago, I joke about the fact that in my practice, I'm like, I don't work with relationships. I don't work with couples. It's too hard. It's high maintenance, blah, 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 blah. Right? I have been saying this for years. Yet I have to tell you, I always end up working with couples. And I've realised the reason this happens is because I work with one person and then they start transforming and changing and figuring out their own silly inner dialogue that's caused them to behave in a particular way. And then they go home to their partner speaking a completely brand new language and their partner's there going, WTF, they don't get it. They're confused. So then they send their partner to me so that I can then teach their partner exactly what's going on. And this has happened again and again. And, the funny thing about saying I don't do this, you'll also maybe know if you've followed me at all, I talk a lot about the subconscious, And the subconscious cannot process a negative. So here I am constantly saying, I don't work with couples. I don't do this. So what's happening right now? Everybody I'm working with is a couple, right? I've got more couples in my clinic than you can poke a stick at. And truthfully, I really love it because what's actually happening is that I get to help one person and then they transform and start seeing things in a particular way, and then they send their partner and I get to help that person too. So it's kind of like double the fun. Now, going back to this book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Whether we are from a different place, the main thing I would just share with you, okay, is that I don't know what the specifics are on numbers and it's really not important. But women, we talk a lot, typically. And men, we might use 1,000 words and men might use 100 in the same instance, right? If you go on, and a perfect example of this is go and find a group of women at a dinner table, right? They'll be going blah, 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 and it's like it's full on and everybody's talking over each other and everything's fine and it's all, I mean, it's hilarious. That's how we do conversation. Blokes will be sitting there and one bloke will go blah, blah, blah about something and the other one will go, yeah, all right, and that's a conversation. They look at us and think we're being really rude and we're cutting off each other. And we look at them and it's like, God, do you guys communicate? Do you even have a conversation? Like, what was that? So then put a man and a woman together and here's the challenge that you have. The woman's going blah, 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 because that's how she communicates. That's just her natural default position. The bloke only gives 1 or 2 word answers and then buggers off if it's a bit too intense. And the chick's there going, oh my God, he always walks away. Da, da, da. And in his head, he's going, yeah, but I walk away because I don't know what else to say. And I think if I stick around, I'm going to start saying things I don't mean. And, and then we make up this big story about what that looks like. So I want to go back to, I want to talk with you guys about effective communication, okay? And effective communication means that the person that you are trying to communicate anything with actually hears it the way that you need for it to be heard, right? Because the reality is women are not deliberately nagging you boys out there for things, and blokes are not deliberately turning up late for things or not showing up or forgetting things. People that are in relationships typically, they want to be in relationships. Like, I have more people that sit in my clinic on a weekly basis telling me how much they love their partner and how much they want everything to work, and then they proceed to tell me all the reasons why it's not working. And the only reason it is not working is because they're not communicating. So have a think about communication for a second, okay? And if you think about it, when you go into a conversation with someone, what story are you making up in that moment about that person? Are you telling yourself the best case scenario, or are you telling yourself the worst case scenario? Are you looking at it through a lens of this person really loving on you, or are you looking at it through a lens of them doing the wrong thing by you? Because those two things are going to determine how you feel and experience that conversation. And the funny thing about this is that it's not your fault, right? You are going to experience those situations because of your upbringing. You're going to experience them based on the traumas that have occurred in your life. You're going to experience them based on the lens with which you see things through. But one thing you can do, and it's such a simple thing, right? If every human being on the planet learnt this one thing, it would profoundly change the way that they experience the world and that they experience humans, okay? Get your pen out. This is an important thing I'm going to share with you. There's 2 things. The first thing is everybody is doing the best they can with the resources that they have, okay? They might be able to do better, sure. You probably think they could do better. But in that moment, they are sitting there doing the best they can with the resources they have. They can only do it that way. No one wakes up in the morning and says, do you know what? Today I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do the shittest job I can at mothering, fathering, humaning, working, partnering. Like, no one wakes up and does that. Okay, well, except for maybe people with serious neurological. I can't say no one because that's a universal, and I don't know every human being on the planet, but I do know humans, like humans as a species, genuinely are good people. People are good, right? Good people do bad things, but genuinely, I believe that people are good. And so that's my life experience, right? And yes, I had a great upbringing. I had a great mum and dad. I've had a great life. I also fucked up a lot along the way. And that really had nothing to do with them. That was my journey, right? But if we go back to this effective communication, if you first believe that everyone is doing the best they can with the resources they have, and then you follow that up with this final piece, which is, what is the best story I can tell myself about this situation right now? So let me give you an example. Let's say you and I are meeting up. We're going out to dinner, okay? And let's say you are my partner. And let's say the deal was that we were supposed to be there at 6 o'clock, right? At 6 o'clock, I'm not there. Now, we've got a relationship. You like me, you love me, you trust me. So at 6 o'clock, you're like, that's all right. 6 o'clock, she's not here. At 10 past 6, you're like, all right, no, this is a bit rude now. So you text me, okay? So you text me and I don't answer. And then 20 past 6 rolls around. And so you pick the phone up and you call me and my phone is off. 6:30, I still don't answer my phone. And you're now really annoyed. You're like, seriously, Sam, like, what the fuck? Where are you? What's going on? So at 10 past, you're kind of like, oh, typical Sam. 20 past, you can't get through to me and you're starting to be like annoyed, seriously annoyed. Half past, you're pissed. Another 10 minutes, you start going, oh my God, fuck, I hope she's okay. 15 minutes beyond that point, you're like, she better, like something better have gone wrong because like I'm pissed off, but I'm really kind of worried as well. And then 15 minutes later, I turn up and I say, oh my God, you won't believe it. I lost my phone, and I couldn't get in touch and I got held up at this appointment and blah, blah, blah. So you've gone, right, from the very beginning where you were a little bit annoyed to you were really pissed off to, oh my God, I think she's dead. And you've done that all within an hour and 15 minutes. What if in that moment you told yourself a better story? Right? What if in the beginning, the story that you told yourself was, well, Sam's really awesome and she wouldn't let me down. I hope she's okay. I'm sure she'll be okay. It's probably just something silly. She's probably just lost a phone. What if you told yourself a better story? Because your brain is always going to end up going down that negative path. And that's just our genetics. That's our predisposed disposition. That's our neural pathway. We are always going to look for the negative. And that comes down to survival instincts. That's just a mammal thing, right? That's got nothing to do with the person or the personality. But what if you always were looking for what is the best story I can tell? And you can use this in any situation. You can use it when someone's late. You can use it when someone does something horrible. You can use it when you experience something in the world that's not great. And you ask yourself, what is the best story I could tell myself about this right now? And look, I don't love that everything happens for a reason, because if you see someone that's just lost a child and go, oh, well, everything happens for a reason, like that's a shit go, right? But what if you, in your mind, when things happen, you go, what is the best story I can tell myself about this situation right now? So I want to share something that, this is a process that I've learned over the last, 5 years. And it really, I think, hit home for me when I decided to reach out and start dating again. And any of you ladies or gents out there that have had to get out there and start dating again, in your late 30s, early 40s, let's just say, it's tough out there, guys. It's uncomfortable and it's vulnerable and it's like swipe left, swipe right. And it's people ghost you. It's kind of hectic. And in the early stages, here is the story I would tell myself when people didn't turn up, didn't like me back, didn't want a second date. I would go, oh, it's because I'm too fat, or I'm too strong, or too opinionated, or I'm not pretty enough, or my nose is too big. I would always tell myself this shit story that had me looking terrible. Now I tell a different story. Right? I tell a story that puts me in a good light because I know I'm a good person. And, okay, I might not be everyone's cup of tea, but there is a person out there for me. I believe that in my heart. So now when that happens, I just go, well, that guy wasn't for me. Or that's okay, he obviously wasn't ready for all the fabulous that I am, right? And that might sound arrogant. That might sound like I'm full of myself. But why not paint a story that makes me feel good? Why would I choose to paint a story that makes me feel shit? So I want you to ask yourself, what is the quality of the relationships you are currently having in your life? With your children, with your partner, with your boss, with your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin, anybody that matters to you. What kind of relationship do you have? Are you the person that the second things don't go exactly according to how you have envisaged them in your brain, you then lose your shit and tell a story that has them as the devil and has them as the bad person, and you make it mean that they're doing it because they don't love you, or they're doing it because they're shit, or they're doing it to deliberately like upset you? Is that the story that you tell? Because it's just a story. Now, if it's true, then well, they're a narcissist and you want to probably fuck them off. And if they're family members and you have to tolerate and deal with them, then, you know, keep them at an arm's length and shield yourself in a protective white light. And I can talk more about that on another episode. But if you came from a belief system that I'd come from, which is everybody's doing the best they can with the resources they have, if they could do better, they would. And what is the best story I can tell myself about this situation in this moment? If you come from that place, I'll tell you what the outcome or side effect of that is, or consequence even, because there is a consequence for everything. The consequence is you get to live a pretty good life. The consequence is you're able to receive feedback from people that sometimes might in the past have felt like really harsh criticism. But you're able to put yourself in a situation where you can be radically honest and you can receive radical honesty. In fact, you can invite it in, which helps you become a better person. It helps you grow, it helps you progress, and it helps you live a better life. So this is a skill like anything else. And it's a skill, it's something that I've definitely gotten a lot better at over the last few years. And the only way I've gotten better at it is by practice, by putting myself in those situations and by really listening to what happens in my life experience. So I want you to ask yourself, like, just really take a moment and have a look at the quality of your relationships, because the quality of your relationships will be determined by the quality of your thought processes. And if you think people are shit, if you think women are bad, if you think all men are cheaters, if you think, you know, that children are just meant to be shit, like if you think all of these negative thoughts, then your reticular activating system, your filter between your conscious and your subconscious, is going to seek out evidence to back up that story. And if you're in a relationship and you're constantly at each other, chances are it's because you guys are not communicating effectively. You're thinking the worst of your partner instead of thinking the best. You're choosing to look for reasons why they're doing the wrong thing by you. And it's okay. It's not your fault you're doing that because of your life experience. But your past doesn't have to determine your future unless you let it, which means you're constantly looking back. And I saw a great meme, I think Gary V recently, he said something like, don't keep looking backwards because you get a crick in your neck or you'll fuck up your neck. Because it was Gary V, let's be honest, he swears just like me. And that's a really good kind of, I guess, mantra or motto to live your life by. Are you looking directly down the lens, or are you constantly looking back at all of the things that happened and blaming your present experience because of stuff that happened over here? Because here's another cool thing that I want to share with you. You can change how you feel about your past by telling a different story. So if your past is currently keeping you stuck in a really shitty place, what story would you have to tell about your past so that you felt better in the present moment and you could move forward? Because sometimes if you really just sit, take a breath and lean in, you will realise that some of the greatest trials and tribulations that you've had to go through, the most uncomfortable processes, were actually just really poorly wrapped gifts. They're all gifts, but, you know, they were just poorly wrapped. You won't see them at the time, okay? But I promise you, if you practice the stuff I'm sharing with you right now, it does get easier, and you'll find that when things don't work out according to plan, You'll be able to move through them a lot quicker, and you'll find yourself not so attached to other people's dramas, because everybody has their own stuff going on. If you make it always about you, you're never going to be okay. And on that note, I'm going to finish with one thing I want to share with you, because I've gotten a whole lot better at taking feedback. And it's taken a while. I got some feedback just a couple of days ago, which if I'd got that feedback 12 months ago, I probably would have brought me undone. But getting it a couple of days ago, I was able to take that feedback and go, okay, how can I be better? How can I improve on that? What can I do to move forward through that? Because now I know that there's no such thing as failure. There's only feedback. And the more feedback I get, the better I get to be. You know, the more that I grow, the more that I get to progress and move forward. So I remember, like, a mindset coach that has become a very dear friend of mine about 20 odd years ago, she said to me, it's not all about you. And at the time, I was like, fuck you, bitch. Like, I was really offended. The way that she delivered the information at the time, it was like a smack to the face. And I genuinely thought, you're an asshole. Like, that's how it was received. But I now realise what she was basically saying is, stop making everyone else's shit about you, because it's not. It's about them and their life experience. So if you can live your life with the mantra I said before, everybody is doing the best they can with the resources they've got, and then what story can I tell myself about this situation? What is the best story I can tell myself right now? You will find life will be good. You will do the best you can. You will feel a whole lot happier. You will find that you are less attached to other people's drama, and you will just find that you all around have a better life. And since this show is called Happy AF, and my mission is to help you be happy and free, happy and fun, happy as fuck, this is a great tool for you to use. I hope this is helpful. If it has been, make sure you like, comment, share it with a friend, because I'm sure that, I'm sure none of you guys out there have got any friends that are negative or ever see the downside of things. But, on the odd chance that maybe you know one person that maybe could benefit from this, or maybe you might have a friend of a friend of a friend who you think could benefit, because, we don't want to offend anyone, then make sure you share it to them. Okay? Because if we all started thinking that we were all doing the best we can with the resources we've got, be a better world to live in, huh? I don't know about you, but I'm pretty committed to helping that actually become a reality. I hope you guys have a magic day. I hope this has been helpful. I love you lots. Peace. Bye.
You just be